What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. Doing the deck profile for True Draco Eldlich, like I said today. The deck list is honestly so different than it has ever been before, but there is a method to my madness, and I'm going to show some bonus gameplays at the end, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Biggest changes you'll see from what I used to do: no card demise. I know drawing 3 cards is insane, but the engines that I put in, I think, make it 100% worth it, at least in my opinion. So, and hopefully the gameplay videos can convince you of that. Also, I don't run jeez, there's so many pot of cards, I can't even think of the name real quick. Pot of duality. Don't run that card either. I know that card's insane, but again, there's an engine here that you need a special summon, and I do not like to play things that oppose each other. Like, I only want good stuff, right? Okay, so we'll go ahead and go over here. I always run 2 Eldlich. I run the golden package. Ironically, it's kind of a funny way to say that, but my ratios for Eldlich do not change no matter what deck I use it in, and it just really works out for me. So 2 Eldlich is always what I go for. Onto the True Draco stuff. The 1 Dynamite, I have no idea why this card is limited. It's so stupid, honestly, but okay. I do run 3 of the Ignis and then 3 of the Majesty. These cards don't really serve that much of a purpose other than being tribute fodder. They're easier tribute fodder than Monarchs. Personally, I like playing Monarch Eldlich more, but there is advantages to only having to tribute 1 monster, and this is a huge one of it. It's like, you don't have to have 2 cards on the board to make it happen. You can tribute continuous traps, which is a really big deal, or continuous spells as well. So yeah, I think it's great. So that's why you just need bodies in here, right? You need big monsters, and these are easy to do, like easy to tribute summon. So yeah, like I said, no card demise, but I do run the 3 Magician Souls and the 2 Illusion of Chaos. Like, I know this card's not out yet, but obviously that'll change someday. But more than anything, you could also, play the there's like a mana card. Let's see if I can find it real quickly. Like Palladium Oracle Mahad, because it's a free special summon. You could also run, definitely you're going to run Palladium Oracle Mana, because if they imperm your Magician Souls, if they do that, basically you get 2 bodies on board, so you could technically tribute summon Eldlich the Golden Lord. Comes up way more in Monarch side of things, but it could also that way. But for now, this is the way I play. I really wouldn't play this, without Illusion of Chaos personally. This deck specifically, not the Monarch side. The Monarch side I think is fine, but yeah. Then I run 3 Pantheism, so this is like more than I usually have, but I kind of went all in. This is my deck theory, at least the idea behind me building the deck the way that I did, is I want to run 3 Pantheism because I need a really good draw engine, because I'm not running Card of Demise, because I have this special summon package here. But Magician Souls is just too good, because a lot of times you'll be able to send Cursed Eldlin plus Pantheism. That is a, let's see, +2. So you're replacing the 2 cards that you have, right? You're going to draw 2 fresh cards. This obviously is going to search you a spell and trap, which is either going to be Domain or the Monarch's Erupt, whichever you want, because you run 3 copies of each. And also you get to send something, off the Cursed Eldlin. So like that interaction alone is too good, and that's where I've kind of found that out when I was playing the Monarch Eldlich version of the deck, and I just think it's too good of an interaction. You get to plus just way too much off of it. That was another big reason why I took out Card of Demise and Pot of Duality. Okay, onto kind of the True Draco traps here. It's a really small lineup, but you want to be able to search Heritage because technically it's spell and trap removal. You want to be able to search Apocalypse more than one time because it is monster removal, and also it like changes the attack of your opponents, because it can be a little wonky sometimes to get over some big monsters, depending on the deck. Now most extra tech dependent, like it won't be a problem at all, but it will come up every once in a while. So it's good to have like a couple of copies of these. They're searchable from the deck. They're continuous traps. They're continuous spells. So again, it helps you tribute summon anyways. And, Dragonic Diagram can search you some of your monsters, but it's also cool because you can pop something like Cursed Eldlin to get even more advantage off of it, or you can pop Pantheism of the Monarchs. Whatever the case may be, you get to pop a card. So it's good. It's not like worth running another one of the True Draco monsters. Like you want to play Diagram. It's a good card. I wish Masterpiece could come off the ban list personally, but that's a story for another time. On to, like I talked about here, I'll just kind of move them over all I can. The 3 Domain of the True Monarchs and the 3, Monarchs are up. You definitely want to run 3 copies of each, because if you are playing a deck where you have to have the Monarchs are up, or you're playing a deck where they're dependent on going into the extra deck, you want to be able to show them 3, so you're not like, ooh, let me show them 2 Domain and 1 Monarchs are up and hope that they pick the right one. Obviously, they're going to pick the best one that's like good against them and that they can play around. Don't give them that choice, right? Like, just play these cards. And then for the rest of the Eldlich stuff. If you guys watch my channel, you know what I do. 3 Scarlet Sanguine, 2 Conquistador, 1 Hakero, and 1 Golden Land Forever. I mean, maybe you want to take this out, but you never know. You can banish anything from the graveyard. It doesn't have to be a monster, which is great. I like to run 1 copy. And like the other ones, these are obviously continuous traps. So, which you can normal summon, which gives you advantage. Good stuff. And then 3 infinite permanents. I know it's not a lot of disruption, but it is... Traditional disruption isn't great. Like, you know, hard negates obviously are quite good against this deck, but otherwise, you know, you're pretty good. This is hopefully going to get you through some stuff. Also, I like to play the infinite impermanence because it's good, like, spell and trap removal, quote unquote. Like, it disrupts it. So if there's a really bad floodgate on the board that, like, is, like, really hard to play around, I can't think of one off the top of my head. But, you know, obviously infinite impermanence can do that too. So it's like a double-sided card. So you just, you know, get as much use out of the cards as you can as possible. And maybe if you're going second, you know, you have this. Onto the side deck, I side in 3 Solemn Judgments instead of the imperms. Or technically, if your opponent doesn't use an extra deck, you could also use this, because even though you'll have 3 less cards to, you know, send off a Pantheism, there's a lot you can do with it. Like I said, you can pop with Dragonic Diagram, you can set it on the field and then special summon the Golden Land Forever. You can also do that. So plenty of use. 3 Lightning Storms. So basically, my ideology behind the side deck is, like, you need to have the biggest impact cards like humanly possible. So because you only have the 3 slots here basically, or maybe 6 if you're, like, depending on the matchup. So I went for really high impact stuff, like as high as impact as it gets. But the Solemn Judgments for when you know you're going first. 3 in perm, 1 Raigeki with 2 Dark Hole, 3 evenly matched, 3 Nibiru's, obviously super duper high impact cards. Like Ash probably isn't going to do enough, especially if it's your only hand trap. And now we'll go into the replays here. I think I just have like a few matches. Nothing too crazy. I guess it doesn't really matter. We'll start from the bottom. This is Ursatic. I don't think I've ever shown this, but this is a going second strategy, like as far as I'm concerned, because when it's special summon, I think it like target a spell and trap they control, destroy. This one changes to face down defense division, but since they went first, doesn't matter. And I did open up the True Draco Heritage, which was kind of funny. So I was able to normal summon and then destroy the back row. And now he can't go into the extra deck. Now I'm getting, you know, an Eldlich. So obviously this is a really good opening. He's going to try to go to the battle phase to get over my Majesty Maiden. I'm obviously going to be popping this card. And, like, yeah, he just surrenders, right? He can't do anything. He doesn't have any cards, but besides that, you know, it's a very extra deck dependent kind of thing. Although I guess their main deck monsters are pretty big, but he went through all of them. Okay, so he's got an Ash, so there's a little bit of disruption and a Crackdown. Interesting. Okay, you just go ahead and normal summon the Cursed Eldlin. He will Ash that. Boo-hoo. Okay. I mean, it does suck, but it's not the end of the world. Like I said, you can always set Pantheism, and then you can search. Like, that's a really, really cool interaction, right? And then you always get advantage off of your True Dracos too, so you draw deeper into your deck. You're always plussing, because when you tribute summon, you're minusing. But in this deck, you're allowed to, like, circumvent that just a little bit. He didn't have anything else, so he passes. So I got another Cursed Eldlin. I can search again. And I can probably send off of this, because all the Ursatic monsters activate their effects from the hand. So it's really not that useful anyway. Stopping them from going into the extra deck is way more important. Cursed Eldlin, you know, the Hakero can go ahead and search me a Scarlet Sanguine, meaning I'll have an Omni Negate plus a pop, which is very, very good. Here's Speedroids. This was a little bit of a weird duel, I think, but good, right? Like that's why I play in perm. You know, it's when it is your only going second card. Eldlich could also be considered because it's disruption, but yeah. Obviously, seeing infinite impermanence is just a little bit better. I have played Speedroids in the past, and I know that their Link monster is huge. He even actually gets the Speedroid wheel, which is pretty intense, because and he got a 5 off of it, so he got some good advantage. But, of course, the Imperm is going to put in a lot of work. It stops him a lot. He goes into a Mecha Phantom Beast or Orodon. I'm not sure what he's going to go do with it. Okay, so he goes into a Clearwing Synchro Dragon, and that's it. Obviously, this was a very good Imperm I had there. Okay, so I'll go for the Cursed Eldlin here. I think this negates level 5 or higher monster effects that activate on the field specifically. But okay. And there we go. You know, Conquistador once again can set the Scarlet Sanguine. I can flip this up at least in the like the draw phase. The standby phase is more important, because even if he is able to get over my Ignis heat, this effect is still online until the end of my turn, which is super important. He's going to try to lower the attack of all my monsters. Of course, I'm going to be negating that. And it's kind of cool to have Draco on a diagram because now it's like pretty difficult to get over. He's going to go ahead, I was going to banish Scarlet Sanguine, get some more stuff, and I also have, Majesty Maiden, going to be able to get over like pretty much the rest of his cards, and he can't do anything after that. So he just ended up quitting, I guess. This was Sky Striker, like LOL, playing Sky Striker in casual, kind of funny. And he like has a really big artifact, I guess like engine, whatever you want to call it. Although this looks like, yeah, it's just like Artifact's version of Sky Striker. But I don't really know what he was keying in on necessarily. Like, he used every single card that he has, which is kind of weird. And domain locking a deck that does not have an extra deck probably isn't going to bode well for you. Yeah, I use that same interaction again. I don't have anything to tribute summon actually to use it, but at least I was able to get the advantage. And like, I'm drawing a lot of cards for my deck, so I can't imagine I'm not too far away from seeing a true Draco monster. He's going to activate Engage. I'm going to go ahead and pop the Verte Anaconda so that he can't go, into his Fusion Destiny, which is fine. And then I can actually activate Gold Knight Forever. He's going to miss timing there with the Widow Anchor. Scythe is set, doesn't matter. And then, yeah, like I said, I probably would have gone into my True Draco stuff eventually because everything replaces itself in the deck. There's only so many other cards that you can draw, right? This is against Crimson or whatever you want to call it. What's it called? Hot Red Archfiend deck, something like that. Draw a couple cards, draw into one of my monsters. The monster count's decently high enough. I mean, that one duel was the only time that I haven't seen like a monster after either I opened it or I went through like all the draws that you're gonna have, during your turn. There we go. So I always activate this during the standby phase. It plays around Lightning Storm because if you have the Omni Negate, obviously, and without without being able to activate monster effects or go into the extra deck, yeah, that's like definitely the end of the duel. And then Effect Failure just doesn't do anything. Imperm doesn't really do anything against this deck, which is great. Which is like the strength of it, of course. I'm not going to sit here and say it's like the ultimate going second deck because it's not. You always want to go first and hopefully win the die roll, but that's just how it is, right? Being able to distribute some of the Cursed Outlet and to give yourself advantage is so fun. It's so good. Like, it's just a really good interaction. And I like this is like insane. Like, I have all of my entire Eldlich engine. It's like almost too perfect. But without being on the extra deck, I'm sure it's like, yeah, like that's it. She's like, okay, what are you gonna do? Not much. Yeah, and I think I talked about this before, but just being able to prevent your opponent from even going into the extra deck can make a big difference. Sometimes they're just like stepping stones. Imperm is pretty big there on the Aloof Lupine. This is like a banish deck or a metamorphosis or something like that. I don't really have anything necessarily, and this is another reason why I actually really, 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 really like Magician Souls, is because the way I played it before, you almost always had to, or you did always have to, tribute like a spell and trap. I don't necessarily want to give up both my Monarchs Erupt and Domain of the True Monarchs. I'm not going to draw anything off of Magician Souls, but I am going to be able to use it for tribute fodder, which inherently makes, like, this is why, like, this deck could be better than Monarch Eldlich, because I only needed that one monster to tribute. That's it. That's all I needed. I'm going to go ahead and activate the Monarchs Erupt just so that this is at least online for a little bit. It's not like I ever have to use monster effects. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of his field spell, basically meaning that he won't be able to go into his big Metamorphosis monsters anymore because that's what the field spell does. And then I kind of have some advantage. Top deck's an Ash Blossom, kind of unfortunate because he's going to, obviously Ash the Scarlet Sanguine. I do top deck a Majesty Maiden. Scarlet can go ahead and banish, just said. I could have tribute summoned there. I don't even know if I would have, because I think I may have preferred to search the Omni Negate, because even if I normal summon this, it's not lethal. It's close, but it's not lethal. So I think I would have searched the Omni Negate just in case, attack one more time, and then I would have had enough to assemble lethal, and I probably would have done that, instead of searching like a Conquistador tribute summoning, because really there was nothing for me to gain from that interaction doing that stuff that early. And yeah, just one last duel. Nothing too crazy. Again, same idea. Has an Ash again. A couple of Metamorphosis cards, I suppose. He banished from his hand. He's got a big Metamorphosis on the board. Okay, so I can activate Cursed Eldlin. He's going to go ahead and activate Ash, which is cool with me. Because then I can use my pretty much the best interaction in this deck. I can send both the Cursed Eldlin and the Pantheism. And actually, Pantheism, I gave him the opportunity to give me another Pantheism. I was going to search out a domain. Wouldn't have preferred that because it's in the follow-up next turn, I would rather show him 3 domains. And he did. He like took the bait, I guess. Because when you pick Pantheism, your opponent's like, oh, they must not have anything else in hand and they must be desperate. No, that wasn't the case for me. I'm just trying to find a true Draco monster. Which I do. You're drawing too far into your deck not to find it, pretty much. Most of the time. That's going to trigger, so I can go ahead and search from the deck. This changes the battle vision, but it does it twice. So it actually put me right back in attack position, which I think is like hilarious. And then during the end phase, go ahead and summon out the Eldlich from the deck. And like you can just see my advantage is just like overpowering at this point. 2 imperms there for these columns. Not that it's too important, but and the Conquistador maybe can pop the field spell. Like that can definitely work too. But yeah, that was a decent look at True Draco Eldlich, the deck profile. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I will see you guys next time.